Tired of the silence, the sugar-coated lies. Another headline screaming behind vacant eyes. They build up their walls, so high and so strong, but the truth's gonna break through before too long. Every single day, the same damn old game, pointing all the fingers, nobody takes the blame. This pressure's building, it's starting to crack. Ain't no turning back now, ain't no holding back. I'm about to say it, yeah, I'm about to scream. Tired of the fake smiles, living in a dream. The real life's bleeding out in the cold. Gotta break the mold, gotta let it unfold. I'm about to say it, every single word. The uncomfortable truth finally gonna be heard. I'm gonna say it.
Welcome to hashtag I'm gonna say it. All things said in today's show are alleged and for entertainment and educational purposes only. If you are below the age of 18, we request that you leave the live now. Enjoy.
I appreciate that. Sister Bernice for bringing us in. Max Effort made it in. Grand rising to you, brother. I think Lori is in. Lori is in. How you doing? I hope everybody had a great resurrection day yesterday. Today we are going to talk about Brandy and Wanya Morris. Now, we'll go back to the 90s. Brandy was known for the adorable daughter on the TV show Thea, but she was also known for having a very successful music career. She was a music artist. And yeah, a few years after that, she had a pesky little brother came out into the spotlight by the name of Ray J. But he's not part of the story. We're only focusing on Brandy. Now, some people may not remember her or may not recall her songs, which, I mean, some of them were timeless classics, if you ask me. But just so we can jar your memory, we are going to play some clips of a couple of her songs. Now, understand, she has more, but we're just going to play a clip of a couple of her songs that she's most known for. All right? And that way you can get an understanding of who she is. Now that's when she first came out. That was the thing. That was the song that put her on the map. And she followed it up. She had a song called "Best Friend," and I think Ray J was in the video with her too. But it was basically that song was about being a best friend with your sibling. It was a great song, one of her hits as well. But this one was another one. So yeah, my 90s peoples, I know it takes you back in the day with that, right? But that's her. That's her right there. Grand Rising, welcome in. You would if the earth turns back into the ice age. We'd all be in trouble, but that's irrelevant right now. It's not what we're talking about, Bullet. But you're more than welcome to sit here and join us, okay? Sis, welcome in. Now, the thing about her being the artist that she was and the fame that she got when she was coming out, she was this darling sweetheart, right, amongst the R&B uh, community. And people were talking about her relationship status, and that pretty much goes along with a lot of celebrities. When you become uh, famous or when you reach a certain level of fame, your relationship and personal life seems to come to the forefront. And those of us who was of age to know what was going on, of course, I was a teenager back then. So, but her relationship status was really, really heavy. Like people wanted to know who she was dating. There was rumors of her dating certain people. Um, exactly, sis. She said Brandy was portrayed as the princess of R&B. Totally true. Totally true. Now, one of those relationships, or one of those rumored relationships, I should say, was with a guy by the name of Mace, and we know Mace from being on Bad Boy Records and with Diddy, right? Of course, those two are not part of the story, but that rumor started when Brandy collabed on a song with Mace called "Sitting on Top of the World." And again, you may not remember it, and that's fine. I got you covered. So that song came out with her and Mace, and people were like, "Yo, she was with Mace. Ooh, they got a relationship going on." And according to Gene Deal, when the whole incident happened in L.A. with Notorious B.I.G. being unalive, Mace was in the hotel room with Brandy, right? Yes, since it was a banger. I'm not gonna even owe you. Like going back to all of these songs, like it is nostalgic for real. Um, so now another person that she collabed on a song with, and that's who we're gonna talk about today. Is Wanya Morris. So who's Wanya Morris, you may ask? A lot of people may not know. Well, he was a member of one of the legendary '90s R&B male groups of all time, Boys to Men. I don't know where you could have possibly been living if you don't know who Boys to Men is. However, here we're gonna try to take care of you. We got you. So, as we did with Brandy, I'm gonna play a couple of clips from a couple of Boys to Men's hit songs. And understand it's so many of them, we don't have time to do it, play them all. So I only picked a couple, mainly the first two, pretty much that they came out with in the '90s, because that's the time period we're talking about. All right. Yeah, I see some of y'all like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about. I remember that. I remember that. And they had another song, that was also big. Again, it's a lot of songs. Their catalog is fairly big, but this was another hit song of the '90s that they came out with.
Please don't go away from me. When you call my name, I'll reach out my hand to you, to my heart. Please don't go away from me. We can work it out, whatever it may be, girl.
All right. So you know who Boys and Men is. You know what group he's a part of. Wanya Morris is who we're talking about. But it wasn't until, like I said, Brandy collaborated with him on a song. Wanya Morris, they collaborated on a song, and it was called Broken Hearted. And it was pretty big as well back in the '90s. I'm going to refresh your memory. All right. Y'all remember that song? Some do, some probably don't. But that's when the talks of them being an item or in a relationship started coming out. And that would have been fine. Aztec Princess, good morning. Welcome in. That would have been fine had she been of age. You see, the problem with that is Brandy was only like 16. Wanya was, what, 21, up in his 20s somewhere, right? And so that lies the problem. Now, of course, he denied the relationship and all of that the whole time. So the talks kind of dwindled away. Now, there was a lady who was on the same record label as Brandy, and it was rumored that Wanya, while being in a relationship with underage Brandy, was cheating on Brandy with this other lady right here. Now, the thing about this lady is she's had a couple of songs out, but like her career never really got to go to where it wanted to or where it should have gotten to. She's a good singer, but I think she was before her time. And the reason I say that is because she was she was aggressive with what she was saying. She was out at this particular time, women saying that they were okay with having intimacy just like men or even as much as men, you know, it wasn't perceived or welcomed back then. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't that's not what people did. Now that didn't really start hitting until Lil Kim, Foxy Brown, uh, of course, and then you go into Trina and stuff like that. But I'm gonna play her song so you all can remember who that is too. All right. Her name is Adina Howard.
I want a freak in the morning, a freak in the evening, just like me. I need a roughneck nigga that can satisfy me, just for me. If you are that kind of man, cause I'm that kind of girl. I got a freaky secret, everybody's saying, cause we don't give a damn about a thing.
Now, in the times where you got Tony Braxton, Aaliyah, the record industry wanted her to be just that subtle sweetheart. As they present, oh, that was my jam. you know, they wanted her to stay in the box of just being the vixen, and she's fine. She's definitely fine. But that's not what she wanted to do. And of course, us men, we thought, hey, it was cool. So, anyways, goes on. Allegedly, he has an affair with Adina Howard. Adina Howard's career never really took off or ascended to the heights that I think it could have. I think she was very unappreciated. But that's what happened. Now, let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to today's time. Brandy is now coming out. From my understanding, she wrote a book as well. But Brandy is now coming out and exposing Wanya Morris as far as their relationship. Let's go.
Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will serve you the tea. You know what time it is? Welcome to Chronicle Speaks. Brandy is not holding back when it comes to her ex, Wanya Morris. After nearly 3 decades, Wanya has continued to revisit their past relationship in interviews.
Kia
But
too,
according
yeah.
to Brandy, the way he's been telling the story doesn't match her experience
I
at
said Princess
all.
definitely
Now Brandy
underrated.
is
She
speaking
was.
out, making it clear she's not here for what she feels is a rewritten version of their history. She believes the narrative has been twisted over time, and she's finally setting the record straight. Now Brandy has just written a memoir entitled Phases, and of course we have our own copy over here. Now, this was just released yesterday, and the book takes readers all the way back to her early beginnings in Mississippi,
you
walking
had to
us
know they
through
was
the
yeah,
rise to the
you're right.
fame as both a music and television star. From starring in Moesha to the iconic role in Cinderella, Brandy opens up about the highs that defined her career. Now, I bought it to see if she was finally going to fess up about the note that Whitney wrote her. But child, we wasn't getting that. What's making its way across the blogs right now is Brandy is finally opening up about this relationship with Wanya Morris and telling the story from her perspective for the first time. So we are going to get into that part of the book and so much more. But before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this story and so much more. Now let's get back into it. So you have some stories that you try to move on from, and then you have ones that follow you for decades. And for Brandy, this is one of them, because after nearly 30 years, she is finally opening up about her past relationship with Boyz II Men star Wanya Morris. And let's just say, the version she's telling now sounds very different from the one we've heard before. Now, if you've grown up in the 90s, you already know Brandy was that girl. Hit records, starring roles, and a career that was moving fast. Around the same time, she crossed paths with Wanya Morris, and what started as a professional connection quickly turned into something more personal. But according to Brandy's new memoir, this wasn't some simple young love story. She says that she was just 16 years old while he was already in his early 20s. And while the relationship was kept out of the public eye for some time, behind the scenes, she describes being pulled into a situation she now looks back on very differently. In her book, Brandy talks about sneaking around, lying to her parents, and trying to balance a secret relationship while still being a teenager navigating fame. She admits that at the time she believed she was in love, but looking back now, she says that there were signs she didn't fully understand back then, moments that made her feel unsure, confused, and even overlooked, but she pushed those feelings aside. So, in the chapter entitled Broken Hearted, Brandy takes us all the way back to the very beginning.
Remember, we said that song that they did together, her and Wanya. The title of that song is Broken Hearted. And so she talks about it. This is the chapter, the name of the chapter in one of her in her book. And she's speaking on the relationship with him.
And how this connection with Wanya Morris even started. Now, at the time, Brandy was just 15 years old, and like many of us back then, she was a huge fan of Boyz II Men. In fact, Wanya was her favorite member. Now, she said one morning her mother woke her up with some amazing news. Wanya was on the phone. Now, imagine being 15 years old and your celebrity crush is calling your house, and your mother gives you the phone, and this man is 21 years old. Now, of course, she's excited, and her mom was right there standing by the door smiling, just as thrilled for her daughter as Brandy was for herself. Now, during that call, Wanya congratulated her on the success of the single I Want to Be Down, even joking that her song had knocked Boyz II Men I'll Make Love to You off the R&B charts. Then Wanya says the words that completely knocked Brandy off of her feet. He says, I want to meet you. She could hardly believe what she was hearing, so a meetup gets arranged at a family member's house where people would gather for a kickback. And when the day comes, not only does Wanya actually show up, but Brandy's circle is there too, even her boyfriend Anthony, Ray J, and others. Now, from that moment on, the calls continued. He started checking in on her, giving her industry advice, guiding her through a business she was still trying to understand. And over time, they became close. Now, fast forward about 5 months, Brandy's debut album drops, and her career is taking off, and her life is shifting too. Her boyfriend Anthony becomes distant, ends up being unfaithful, and their relationship falls apart. Now, Brandy said she was saving herself for him, but obviously he wasn't doing the same. Now, Brandy said she had been trying to do things the right way, but that situation left her hurt. Then comes her Sweet 16. So for this birthday,
Hey,
she
good
has
morning,
a
Chrissy.
huge party at the Hard Rock
Welcome in.
Cafe. She has family, friends, celebrities. It's a celebration. Everything you'd expect. But at midnight, something unexpected happens. Her parents and Ray J pull her away to a more private area, and suddenly she hears a familiar voice. Tonight is a special evening. Tonight is Brandy's birthday. She turns around, and it's Wanya. Not just him, but the entire group. It's Boyz II Men. They sing to her, they celebrate her, and Wanya publicly praises her, calling her one of the baddest singers in the 90s.
Hey, let's pause for me. Do you think this could have been grooming? Would this fall under the category of grooming? Do you know how they can you know say that she's good, like he was saying that she was good, and she was, but I'm just saying he was using his celebrityism, if we could use that word, or he was using his connections that he has in the music industry and in his position in the industry to kind of groom her. Jenny said that romance is similar to Aaliyah and R. Kelly's. Ah, great comparison, sis. She says yes. Chrissy said yes, 100%. Chrissy says yes. Step one, gain the victim's trust. Ah, very, very good point. Very good point. And then we see that he's, also trying to make sure she's okay, she's doing all right, um, showering her with these gifts. And now, when I say with this gift, knowing that she's a fan of the group and definitely a fan of his, she already likes him or has that celebrity crush on him. he brings the group and they sing at her birthday party. I mean, another great comparison. Jenny said, just like Hilary Duff and Leonardo DiCaprio, and that's true. That's very true. Chrissy said, I forgot. I wasn't the only Chrissy. You all right? I think she's Christy. You're Chrissy. So I got y'all. I got you, love.
Brandy describes that moment as feeling like an anointing, like validation she had been searching for. And from then on, things got deeper. Later that night, he called her again, and this time asking her to join Boyz II Men on their spring tour. She, of course, says yes.
Ask that
But
person,
before the tour
Leo
even
is a
started,
mess.
they'd already been talking regularly. And in her words, he felt like the only person who truly understood what she was going through in the industry. Then comes the first night of the tour. She's nervous, she's clammy, she's overwhelmed, and he shows up backstage with flowers in hand, calming her down and encouraging her and telling her that she's going to be able to get through it. Even telling her that he listened to her entire album on the plane ride and he absolutely loved it. Then all of the butterflies went away. He said, we should do something together. Your song Broken Hearted? I think it would sound good with me on it. Let's do a duet. Let's do a remix. Brandy can't believe her ears, but she's down for it. Next thing you know, it's time for her to take to the stage. So Brandy gets on stage and she starts singing. She looks over to the corner and she sees Wanya looking at her. He throws up the thumbs up, pretty much letting her know that she's doing well. He goes on to go with his group. So when they go to the Philadelphia stop of the tour, she ends up going to the Boyz II Men studio and they re-record Broken Hearted. He says, this is a smash. Thank you for believing in me. Now, here's where people start to begin questioning the entire situation because while all of this is unfolding, Brandy is still very young. She's 16 at the moment, navigating fame, relationships, and adult situations all at once. And it raises a bigger conversation, not just about Wanya, but about the environment around her, because when you hear this timeline, it makes you wonder, who was the adult guiding her through these moments? Not Wanya. Who was the person that was supposed to be there that loves her? Her mother, her father, an aunt, an uncle, anybody. Who was setting boundaries? Who was making sure that she was protected in an industry that can move very fast? Now, to be fair, Brandy speaks about her family with love and support, but looking back at these moments through today's lens, it does leave some type of question as to how much oversight there might have been during this time. And that's not about blame. It's about understanding just how complex this situation really was. They can
not blaming. What kind? What kind? The thing about it is, I think this is another example that we've covered in so many podcasts when we talk about this kind of stuff, where a parent sees the dollar signs, and by them only seeing the dollar signs, it causes a lack in their judge of character or morality. And this is how we typically end up in these places right here.
blame this on Wanya all day long, but when you leave meat out there for the vultures, what you think gonna happen?
It says
You
definitely
gave your daughter
grooming and her
rope,
parents
and she
dropping
hung
the bag.
herself with it. And now
Absolutely.
y'all blaming Wanya. Now let's continue. Now, after they re-recorded Broken Hearted, she said that the interactions with Wanya felt magical. From the way he looked at her to the way he embraced her. During long stretches on the tour bus, she would drift off into daydreams, replaying his laughs in her mind and wondering what it would feel like to be even closer to him. She says that her journal quickly filled up with thoughts and she didn't fully understand them at the time. Now, by the time they filmed the Broken Hearted video, that unspoken tension between them had only grown stronger, like they were trying to keep their distance, yet constantly being pulled back towards each other. And the attraction, she explains, wasn't loud or obvious, but it was always there, lingering in the pauses, sitting in the air between them, and yet there was still something else that she couldn't ignore. She recalls him repeatedly reminding her, "My girlfriend is 16," a statement that seemed to hang between them, unclear whether it meant to set a boundary or ease his own
said, "Oh, I'm
conscience.
blaming."
But at the age of 16,
baffled on
Brandy
how these
says that
parents
she
trusted
believed
so
she was
much.
in love, or at
Not
least
me.
what she understood
I'm
love
going
to be
everywhere
at that
with you.
age. Something that, looking back
that
now,
is true.
may have been shaped more by his perspective than her own. She feels that he weaponized her admiration, shaped her friendship into dependence, and her respect into desire, and she felt swept into a current she couldn't control. Now, Brandy reflects on this next part of her life with a mix of awareness and emotion. She admits that deep down inside, she knew that this situation with Wanya wasn't right, but at the same time, she believed that what they had was real, something she felt others just wouldn't understand. Now, because he was older and more experienced, she said she often followed his lead, trusting his direction in a situation she was still trying to make sense of. She even shares that she believed becoming intimate with him would strengthen their bond, despite initially wanting to
I
wait
said,
until
Princess, there
marriage.
needs to be
But when the moment finally
some laws
happened, it
passed to
didn't feel
protect the
the way
kids
that
in the
she
industry.
imagined.
I agree,
Instead of
Bessie.
being something tender and meaningful, she described it as underwhelming. She figured with this man singing songs like I'll Make Love to You, he'd do just that. She said that it was nothing of the sort. She truly felt that she wasn't special, but rather something to pursue or to obtain. She said that he wanted to conquer her. She said she felt like she was getting in over her head. And one day her parents confronted her in the living room and was like, "What's going on with you and Wanya?" She said she told him it's nothing, just a friendship, just music. Now, time moves on. Brandy moves from 16 to 17 to 18. And she said her mom approached her one afternoon and her voice was very low. And she was like, "Are you willing to sacrifice your dreams for Wanya?" She was like, "Mama, I love him." She finally admitted the truth. And Mama Norwood was like, "You're not in love. You don't even know what love is. You'll see for yourself." Well, sure enough, she was about to. So I'm going to read this passage. Brandy said, "I lacked vocabulary then for what I was experiencing, then suffocating of existence between the young woman I was becoming and the brand I was building. I rejected the premise that I had to choose between professional fulfillment and emotional connection. I simply wanted to experience my feelings without apology or justification. Whatever existed between he and I, it felt real. I genuinely believed it was true love." So Brandy is chilling at Wanya's apartment. They're eating some Thai takeout food, and they hear "Soon As I Get Home" by Faith Evans. And he was like, "Do you hear that?" She's like, "Yeah, I love this song." So she's humming it. And he said, "Okay, let's stop it right there." And he pauses it right before the bridge. And he said, "Why don't you sing like that?" Brandy says he hit a nerve because she revealed that she already had insecurities about her voice. And instead of building her up, moments like this made her question herself even more. Now, she notes that they listen to music together all the time, but this type of critique hadn't happened before. And after that, it didn't stop. According to Brandy, the comments became more frequent, more pointed, and left her feeling diminished. Looking back, she believes that those remarks may have been intentional, creating insecurity, so she would seek validation, ultimately giving him more control in the dynamic while her confidence slowly took a hit. Then comes a time where she's riding down the street in her car and he's riding in his car. She sees a passenger on his side and it's a female that happens to be his assistant. He's playing and rubbing his hands through the assistant's hair. They're at the red light, but they don't see Brandy. The light turns green. She takes off in anger. So later that day, she asked him, "Are you with her?" He was like, "No, but I got a couple of other people that I've been messing with." She was like, "What the hell? This man has pursued me. He's been with me since I was 16, and he's cheated on me. I've dealt with infidelity at 16, 17, and 18." Now, one part that myself and others were hoping that Brandy would dig deeper into is the situation involving Adina Howard. Because while Brandy does open up about her relationship with Wanya Morris, she doesn't really dive into what many have described over the years as a possible love triangle. Now, y'all remember Adina, Miss T-shirt and panties, Miss Freak All Through the Night. Well, Adina and Brandy were actually label mates. And so Brandy's relationship with Wanya was actually overlapped when Adina started dating him as well.
When you meet Adina, it's on and popping.
Now, Adina still has good knees in her 50s, so ain't no telling what was happening in the early 90s. Somebody like her
Sorry, y'all. They was showing Adina Howard performing, and she was dropping and popping. And I've never seen this video before, so I was caught off guard. So when she said that her knees are still good at 50, that ain't a lie. They look real good, real good. Like they've been preserved. Like maybe, yeah. She could. Looks like she was about what she was singing about.
Makes your man. You just bow out gracefully. It's nothing more you can do, ladies.
Thank you for your services.
So there's two female label mates now fighting over this one R&B dude. Now the label executive Sylvia Rohn heard about it and basically let Adina know, we're trying to put out your second album. Leave this guy alone. Let's focus on you. So Adina went on the radio and she talked to Wendy Williams. And let's just say she didn't hold back. She came in poised, well-dressed, calm, but make no mistake, she came in to clear the air. Now, during that interview, Adina spoke openly about her connection to Wanya Morris and even suggested that there was an overlap, that while Brandy was involved with him, she was too. Not only did she have harsh words for Brandy, but she had harsh words for Sylvia Rohn as well. Adina had to know that this interview with Wendy would be huge, and honestly, going at a label exec would be career suicide.
I said something very inappropriate about the head of the label, and she pulled up the emergency brake, shut everything down.
Adina's second album was shelved, she was cut from her label, and it seemed like she was not able to find the same success that she had with her first album since. They said that Brandy's mom was also upset about Adina putting Brandy's information on blast. And like I said, Adina did not have that same success since. She's been blackballed. Brandy said that she realized that none of what she experienced with Wanya was love, and she's tired of him getting on the internet talking junk about what they had or didn't have, for lack of better words.
Brandy even said in her behind the music that you broke her heart because you fell in love with somebody else.
I mean, you only fall in love with somebody. You only fall out of love with somebody else if somebody makes you fall out of love. You know, so if that was the situation, if that's what she said, then
that's political. I like that.
I can't contest to her view about it. I can just only live by my view.
Revolt.
They were saying she was really young when y'all dated.
Yeah, she was. Not that young. Not
jailbait.
No, that's what I'm saying.
So now we see he's on the Breakfast Club, Wanya Morris, and everybody's minimizing. They're minimizing the relationship with him and Brandy. However, I don't think there's any minimization to that. But even now, you see, to him, he's not really taking it serious.
Hold on, but you know that's why. But that's why I stopped it. Hold on, but that's why I stopped it and said that she wasn't that young, because I don't want y'all to think Boyz II Men was no.
I was young too.
She said she was 15 and she had to keep it a secret because she was so young.
See, we did the thing. We did the thing when she was like 16, 17, around that time. You know,
so you were still a boy too.
I wasn't old. I wasn't like 38 years old, nothing like that. I was old enough to. She was old enough to get it.
Okay, so because I can't really hear all that well, but sounds like to me, Wanya just admitted to having underage intimate relationships with Brandy. And he said, "No, she was like 16, and I guess that really all depends on where it went down at, as far as when it comes to state laws and stuff like that. But in the laws of morality, is what I'm saying, that's not good." And he's like, "Yeah, I wasn't that old. I mean, I was young. I wasn't 38." So, yet and still, we have him minimizing what happened.
Okay. But was it legal in the state y'all was in?
I mean, we was always in different states. We was on
They had a nomad relationship.
You know what I'm saying?
So no goes there.
We just, we didn't do it in the states that it was legal. It was illegal in.
Nice.
Nice.
Should I just
Tell the story.
I'm going to tell the story. We like stuff like this, especially when people don't have any idea. Okay.
Jacket.
Okay, so check this out. Brandy and I were friends in the beginning. Her mother and reached out to me, as well as my manager reached out to Brandy, because Brandy was a big fan of mine. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, because this young lady was pretty Cool. Now I was young at the time. I wasn't 30 nothing. You know what I'm saying? So don't get it twisted. Hold on one second. Can we keep it down? Because I can't have. All right. So what happened is we actually, she became kind of like my little protege. You know what I mean? I'm actually the one that introduced her to Vita Spears and Ralph Fuqua. They came to us to actually do a TV show on the UPN network. And I said, well, Brandy's down the hallway, and she's basically she was on the theater show. Okay, cool. Introduced her to that. The show came to fruition. My mom and I wrote the theme song to the Brandy show. So Brandy and I were really, really close. Once she turned of age, we had been hanging around each other so much. We've been hanging around each other so much that there became to be some sort of connection, an intimate connection. We actually fell in love. Now, we were young. That's what happens. You're young and you fall in love. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have the ability to be around somebody a lot, you begin to know things about them. You know what I mean? And they know things about you. Now, when you're young, you make decisions based on your youth. You know what I'm saying? You don't make decisions, moral decisions that put you in a whole position where you know that this is what's going to be for the rest of your life. You're learning through everything. And Brandy and I learned through a lot. When it came time for Brandy to go on her prom, she was my girlfriend. Kobe Bryant was graduating from high school that year. Brandy was my girlfriend. She had just graduated from Pepperdine, and her mom and we both made it so that Brandy was able to go on tour. On the prom with Kobe Bryant. Okay, when it came time for Brandy to introduce herself to the world, I'm the one that actually put her on the Boyz II Men tour. Okay, so she was with me. She was my friend, sis. And we became intimate in a relationship. There's no lie going on here. You can ask Brandy; she will tell you the same story. Relax on what you think.
All right, look. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I'm gonna say it. I think. No. I don't think. I'm hearing him talk, and the reason why it was okay for her to go to prom with Kobe Bryant is because Kobe Bryant was 18. And so that was where he was well within the age range to where it would be appropriate for him to be with Brandy. And so she got to go to her prom, and she was with Kobe Bryant, which meant the public could see her out. And let's be honest, Kobe's no slouch now. Kobe went from high school straight to the NBA. And he's one of the NBA greats. So it's not like he was, a nobody that she went to prom with. Of course, the media knew him and knew her. So they would have definitely covered this, which they did. And it's one of those things where the fusion or the deception would be great and play in favor of Wanya. Because they're like, hey, well, we wouldn't think she's with Wanya or anything. Look, she's at prom with Kobe Bryant. So there's no way that she would be in a relationship with Wanya, because if she was in a relationship with Wanya, she wouldn't be at prom with Kobe Bryant. The deception play.
Because I know, because I lived it, and so did Brandy. As time progressed, we grew out of each other. Yes, it was a hurtful thing. It was a hurtful thing to break up. That's what happens. You're in a relationship and then you break up. She grew out of me and I grew out of her. Might have grown out of her a little bit faster, but
He's still throwing jabs, boy.
You're young and you make decisions. Next thing you know, that's what it is. Brandy's successful, Boyz II Men is successful, and we're
somebody commenting on his live. It says he won't say her age because he knows she was too young. And then someone said, please block Jessica.
Happy. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is. We are happy. So whoever is there saying, all kinds of crazy stuff like they know, you know what I mean? Regardless of anything, my age, her mother was definitely, a part of our relationship. Her mother and father was a part of our relationship. They allowed me to guide Brandy and to help her through her career. They understood that we had grown close, and that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? So understand that that for a fact, whoever it is on there, that life happens. That's just what it is. So now you have your answer and you have your understanding. If you care to listen, you care to believe it, I don't care. I know the truth, and everybody else does too. All right. So now let's move on to the next contestant.
Brandy says the shame I have carried over this relationship ends here, buried in these pages like ashes scattered to the wind. I have grown more resentful at his insistence on reframing that time, his continued attempts to rewrite history with himself as the misunderstood romantic lead rather than the adult man he was.
Yes,
his
happy to make us
refusal to acknowledge what I believe he did, to take responsibility for the power I feel he wielded and abused, feels like its own form of continued abuse. Over the years, I've seen him talk about our relationship in interviews and on social media, spinning tales that grow more elaborate with each telling. He's so convinced of the version he told himself, but somehow can't keep his story straight. The details shifting like sand depending on his audience, his mood, and his need for sympathy or admiration. I was not a fast girl with a crush. I was not a dramatic teenager who couldn't handle rejection. I was not an unstable, obsessive fan. I was a child. He was an adult, and it's time the world understood the difference. I just want to know, where was the parents at? This girl was doing a lot of stuff without being watched. Where was the parents? Anyway, what I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about everything going on with Brandy's book, Phases? Have you read it? Are you going to buy it? Leave a comment and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. As always, thanks for watching. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any of my new episodes.
All right, we'll do all those things. And y'all do the same here as well, please. And let's give it up to Chronicle Speaks. Again, great coverage. And what I say is my opinion here. You're more than welcome to not like it. I'm gonna be honest, I really don't care. But I think just from listening to him talk, even now, because you got to understand, these things was recent. What he's saying right now, that last interview, that was recent. And even with that, I don't know. And it's something about the 30. I'm with you, sis. It's something about that 30 that he keeps harping on. In the interview with the Breakfast Club, it's not like I was 38. And then in that interview or that live he was doing there at the end, he was like, I wasn't 30 something. I was still young. So I don't know. It's something about 30, I guess. Hey, Lori. Yeah, we're at the end now. It's okay. It's all right, though. You know you can watch the playback. Am I saying that Brandy, okay, back then, Brandy, I don't blame her. She was young. Going forward in the industry and into modern times, into today's time, do I think Brandy's innocent? No, Brandy has done some questionable things too. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about back then. And back then, I think, in my opinion, her parents was like, listen, do you know the success you could have being attached to him? If you hit your proverbial career wagon to Wanya, knowing he's Boyz II Men is this big group. Because let's be honest, y'all, Boyz II Men was, I mean, way big back in the 90s. So if that were the case, I feel it was. I feel like her parents was like, listen, okay, so what, he's, older than you, go ahead, girl. It's good for your career and good for our bank account. And again, like my sister said, it's the same. You can compare it to Aaliyah and R. Kelly. These are just facts. Yeah, my sister said he knows he was the adult and she was a child, and that's the part we can't skip past. Now, is there something that can be done about it now? Probably not. And so that's why I say, man, at this point, just I don't know. I mean, the fact that you're still minimizing it, kind of, it's scary. Because if he's minimizing it right now, it seems as if then he doesn't have a problem or issue doing it. And if that's the case, how many times did he do it? And again, these are just my questions. Nothing else has been said about him being with anybody underage. This is the only time. This is just my question, right? Jenny says Brandy got to look at the situation with grown eyes, and she saw he used her. Yeah, absolutely, and she is not wrong for that. I mean, like she did. She was young then. She was young. I mean, let's think about it. Let's put us at 16. How many crazy things did we do, or without knowledge? We had no clue. We thought we knew. We thought we invented the wheel at 16, and so she probably thought that that's what real love was. Whereas at 21 and already being in the industry, not only being in the industry, being an A-lister in the celebrity, I mean, in the industry, he probably had countless of experience. And he grew up in Philadelphia. Come on, y'all. I don't know how many of y'all have been to Philly, but if you have, you get it. Like you experience stuff at a very, very young age in Philly, so you get to see things. I know I had the opportunity to go to Philly and experience Philly as an 18-year-old in this pro wrestling industry. And it was a different world. And that was what, 95? So it's a different world up there. So I get him already having experience. And so I don't get where he thought this was being good or this would be a good idea. And again, it leads me back to what I opened up with y'all. At that particular time, it was almost like her V. I don't know if I can say that word on here. I probably could, but where we come from, we're so mind warped on what we gotta watch what we say. But her V was such like a thing. Just like my sister said, she was the princess of R&B back then, and so any guy who could plant his flag and claim her V card or take her V card was like the man. So, and it just so happens it was him and Mace that were the two that I can recall or remember that were the talks of her being in a relationship with back then. All right. Jenny says, I'm grown and know everything. Yeah, I feel you. She said, even if it was early 20s, his mentality was more like 30s. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So even in being 20, you can say 21 young, okay, but when we're comparing it with a 16-year-old, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. So I just can't let him slide on that. I'm not going. And again, I think I would even. I'm not saying it's right in either way, but now if you're saying, hey, you know what, I did, which in a way he did admit to it. We heard him say it's out of his mouth. It ain't nothing you or I said. He said in the Breakfast Club, we did do it, and then he said, and yeah, in some states where it wasn't legal. I mean, yeah, in states where it wasn't. It's you already told. I just would have listened. We were young. This is what happened. If I could go back, I would change it. That's something I wouldn't keep. And then he keeps taking what we call rubs in the wrestling industry. It's a rub, like it's a joke. It's but he keeps like disrespecting her. Like when he was saying, it fizzed out, or got tired of the relationship. I got tired before she did, or quicker than she did. Like for real, dude. Let's just be. I don't know if you could be tasteful, but at least try to have some kind of decorum. Yeah, he dogged her out completely. He's dogging her out still. And I think that we are in a situation, given everything that we cover, we are in, I won't say a situation, we are in a period where the things that are coming out in the record, in the music industry, it's like everything that was covered is being unearthed. And I don't even know if we're completely done with this. Brandy has a lot that she has. I mean, you know, she still has to. I'm sure she still has the situation dealing with her baby and who the baby daddy is. I'm sure that still plays on her. That was kind of that left a proverbial black eye on her career. And then the homicide, the vehicular homicide. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that still plays on her conscience. So I'm not sure if we even are finished with this or done with this. I'm pretty sure we'll probably hear more. All right, but that's it. I was asked to cover this story, and that's what I hope I done it justice. I hope you enjoyed it, and I appreciate you all joining me here. Let's make a couple of announcements. Remember, we have the Nation of Devastation podcast, episode 2, Path of Devastation, coming this Saturday, April 11th at 6 p.m. on TikTok. My little brother and I will be reading your questions if you submitted it. We will be reading your questions and answering. We will say your name and we will read the question out loud and then we'll answer it as well. Keep in mind, we are in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Spartanburg, South Carolina, this Friday for OCWA's Friday Night Feuds, as well as on Saturday for Saturday Night Showdown. All right, both will be coming from the Spartanburg Memorial Auditorium. So make sure you tune in. And the way you can tune in and watch that with us is by subscribing to over on Twitch to the channel MC3 SFT9. You create you an account if you don't have one. If you have one, you look that name up, you go and you hit subscribe, and you'll be notified when we have our shows. And I promise you, it's something you don't want to miss. We have a blast. We're fresh off of some events in Knoxville, and both shows were outstanding. And remember, all roads are leading to our PLE, which is like, this is an E-Fed. This is an E-Pro Wrestling Fed, y'all. So, you know, some people, I don't want nobody really driving to Spartanburg Auditorium thinking you're going to see us. You won't believe it's a video. It's an E-Fed, all right? So let's make sure we let people know that. But we did the Knoxville thing. That was great. And remember, all roads are leading to our PLE, which is like our pay-per-view, our big show, our WrestleMania. And that's going to be next Saturday in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, I encourage you to go and follow the Outlaw Championship Wrestling Alliance page over on Facebook. So that way you can be in the know when we release information or updates on shows and happenings that's going on in the OCWA. Because even though next week we will be in Charlotte for our PLE show, next week we'll be in 2 different venues. Friday night will be in one venue, and then Saturday night will be in another venue. So you definitely want to go and follow that page on Facebook, stay updated, as well as going and subscribing to the channel MC3SFT9 over on Twitch. We would love to have you there. Now, today, we are going to have a show called Charisma in Crisis. And that's going to be hosted by our dear friend, our sister, Aztec Princess. And I am innately humbled to be her co-host on that today. We're going to be on TikTok, right? We're going to be on TikTok. So go and follow her page, and then that way you'll know when that's happening. And I'm looking forward to it. All right. In fact, I'm going to go and I'm going to get set up to do that now. And what time are we going on, Aztec Princess? Did we say noon? I think we agreed with noon. Yeah, I think it's noon here. Yep, noon. Okay. So y'all make sure you join us there. We look forward to seeing your beautiful faces in there. This is the first show, so you guys gonna be part of history. It's the first time we doing this, you know. Jenny said, "Yay, my B-Day present." Wait, today is your birthday? I did not know that today is your birthday. Noon. Happy birthday, Andre. Yeah, definitely happy birthday. Yeah, noon, East Coast. Eastern Standard Time, yeah. All right. Well, listen, y'all. I have been your self-proclaimed favorite news reporter, Mr. Breaking News. I'm signing off from the newsroom. And remember, you could be anything in the world. Be somebody. Come on over to TikTok. Go to Aztec Princess's page and follow her. And that way you will be notified when we go live. All right. And I hope to see y'all there. Peace and blessings to you all. And I love you to life.